So we are on to our nonfiction unit, so we're going to be jumping into some different nonfiction texts. This text is called 100 Most Destructive Natural Disasters. And I'm going to start out at the table of contents, because that's where I find out the different disasters that I might want to read about. Well, because we talked about volcanoes in science, I thought that would be a good place to start. And I did notice that there's Mount Vesuvius, which A, is a pretty cool name, and B, I kind of know a little bit about it already, so I'm curious about what else I could learn. So I'm going to go to page 16. Mount Vesuvius. Vesuvius. Near Naples, in Italy, you can visit the ruins of Pompeii, an ancient Roman town destroyed by a terrifying volcanic eruption in the year 79 CE. Surprise! In 79 CE, Vesuvius had been dormant for a long time, and the Romans thought it was extinct, no longer active. So when on August 24th, ash showered onto the town of Pompeii, many people ignored it. And the next day, the volcano blew up. High-speed pyroclastic flows rushed over the town, killing 16,000 people. Many were burned and buried alive as they went about their daily activities. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Vesuvius is still an active and dangerous volcano, posing a risk to the city of Naples. So here it is, and here's the city. Holy cow. Destruction rating? A very destructive and scary ancient eruption. So it has 4 bombs here. I think probably the most is 5 because there's a space here. It's pretty destructive. There's a little added extra. Pompeii preserved. Eventually, Pompeii was rediscovered and excavated, and now it's a top tourist attraction. You can see many of the old streets and buildings, and even plaster casts of some of the people who are buried under the eruption. I don't know if I'd want to see plaster casts of people buried. A beautifully preserved ancient street and buildings in Pompeii is the caption for that picture. I'm glad they told me because I wouldn't have known what I was looking at. All right, let's go back. I think we have time for a couple more. Back to my table of contents. Well, I do know that in our unit, we're going to be talking about wild weather. So I think I'm going to jump into earthquakes next and get a little closer to home. How about we check out the San Francisco earthquake, page 22. San Francisco earthquake. Imagine waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to find your bed is shaking and your roof is falling down. That's what happened on April 18, 1906 in San Francisco, California, when a major earthquake struck. Smoke billows at the bottom of the hill. Oh my gosh, yeah, look at all that smoke. So that's kind of the caption there. Destruction rating, one of the worst ever natural disasters in the United States. 4 bombs, pretty bad. Fire disaster is this heading, so my guess is this is about fire. The quake itself shook the city for nearly a minute, destroying buildings and killing hundreds. It also broke gas pipes, releasing gas that ignited and caused deadly fires. One of the first victims was the fire chief, who died when a building fell on his bedroom. Without his leadership, the fires got even worse. By the time they were put out, 80% of the city was in ruins and 3,000 people had died. Here we have a text box here. Cracks in earth. This famous earthquake revealed a lot about how earthquakes happen. California lies on the San Andreas Fault, a crack between 2 of the huge tectonic plates or sections that make up Earth's crust. Earthquakes happen when these plates grind against each other. So here are the tectonic plates. And then when they grind against each other, that's when an earthquake happens, because it's really the land is shoving against each other. And here is a caption for this picture. The faults between Earth's tectonic plates, with the San Andreas Fault shown in red. Ooh, let me zoom in on that. So this is California over here. Here's San Francisco, and this is the fault that was rubbing together that caused that terrible earthquake. All right, let's do one more. So let me go back here. I actually think I'd like to do a tornado. I'm going to pick the Joplin tornado. I almost feel like that was around when I was a little girl. I feel like that happened recently, but I could be wrong. Oh, no, it did. That's why I remember it. Let's zoom in on this. Joplin tornado. Destruction rating, more than 160 people died, and huge damage was done by this deadly tornado. 4 bombs again. Wow, Mrs. Barnes, you sure know how to pick them. Tornado Alley has a lot of farmland, so people often think tornadoes don't hit cities, but they do. In 2011, this was only 9 years ago, a huge tornado landed right on the city of Joplin, Missouri, home to 50,000 people, and tore through its center. F5 destruction is the heading here. I'm not really sure what that means. I better read on. The destruction caused by this tornado, put it firmly, in the F5 category. Houses were ripped apart, roofs flew off, and a large hospital was so badly damaged that it had to be torn down. The wind, which was described as sounding like a roaring, thundering freight train, ripped the road surface right off, lifted cars and trucks into the air, and blasted twigs and other objects deep into the sides of the buildings. And that's only a 4? I can't imagine what a 5 would be. So here's a caption with a little arrow pointing down. Let's zoom in on this. Destruction after the 2011 Joplin tornado. So look at this, was someone's house. Oh my goodness. Over here, the entrance to an underground tornado shelter. So these people stayed in this shelter underneath while the tornado tore around them. Thank goodness they had a shelter. That way they survived. Ooh, there's even something on tornado shelters. Let's read on that. Many places in Tornado Alley now have tornado shelters. These may be concrete rooms built inside houses or underground bunkers built in backyards. When a tornado is coming, loud sirens warn everyone. Well, that's nice. They at least get a warning so they can get into the shelters in time. And then there's a disaster record at the bottom, a little bottom caption. I didn't even see this. Probably America's most expensive tornado ever. Wow. You know, I've got to go back. I got to go back and see if there's anything about that for Vesuvius on 16 and 22 for our... Nope, nothing on the bottom for our earthquake. We're good there. And let's go to 16. Oh, but nothing on the bottom there. Okay, I didn't miss anything. So that is a nonfiction text that has a variety of things in it. If you're interested in borrowing it, maybe I'll lend it to you.